everybody, it's Joe from Gadgetry Tech, and today I'm going to be talking about the Corsair Platform 6 desk. This is a very expensive desk. It's not for everybody, but there are some features and quality of life things that frankly no other desk offers. So in this review, I'm going to talk about pros and cons. You can obviously decide at the end of the video if you think it's worth it to you or not, or if you just want to learn more about it. But there's a lot to like, and there's some things that people may not need. So the Platform 6, it starts at $1,000 for basically a fixed version of the desk, which is a 72-inch by 30-inch desk, non-height adjustable, but it does still come with the rail system and a monitor mount, a dual monitor mount that can run dual 32-inch monitors. My setup behind me has dual 27-inch monitors. I know there are some competitors that offer a stand-up desk in that same price range versus this being fixed. However, they don't come with the rail system that you can upgrade to, and it doesn't come with the monitor mount. They're actually really nice monitor mounts too. I'll talk about that later. The side shelves, one of them is holding my Corsair 5000D case, which I bought myself. Most of the Corsair stuff I own, actually, I bought. All of the Elgato products I use. So this isn't like a sponsored post by Corsair. Corsair only sent me, I shouldn't say only because it sounds like entitled or negative. Corsair sent me the Elevate platform itself, which is the walnut finish height adjustment desk. I purchased the Elgato back panel here, the Elgato Multiframe for Platform 6. That's $300. I also purchased the side shelves, which in the walnut finish is $250. If you get the black laminate, it's $200. I wanted just the biggest, most feature-packed desk I can get because I change things all the time. Being a reviewer, I don't like to just unbox something and talk about it. I have to use it for a while. I've actually had this desk since launch. I've had this desk for over 2 months. Corsair has been very patient with me, but obviously, if those of you watching my prior videos, I was really sick. Like all of December, I was out. So doing something this big of a project was going to take a while. There are things I like and dislike about this desk. So let's start with the finish. The walnut, I love the look, but it is definitely not as durable as laminate. So if you're the type of person that is concerned about dropping things, one, I recommend a big desk mat regardless because it's a good way to protect whatever desk you own. But the laminate, even though it doesn't look as nice, it is less expensive and it is more durable. This finish is more of a softer laminate. It uses rubber wood. It's not the best if you have like big metal boxes, like a huge headphone amp, for example, for myself, that you might accidentally put down on the table too hard or at an angle. It can scratch stuff. So keep that in mind, and hopefully that helps you choose what finish you're considering. Now let's talk about the assembly process. There is a lot to build. Now part of it is pre-assembled. The underside frame to this desk is already done. The feet you have to attach, but a lot of it is done. Basically, you can unbox it in a way where the feet are presented, or the tabletop is presented upside down. You lift the feet up and install everything, and then you do something that the manual calls the big flip. Now, it's recommended to have 2 people to do this part. Depends how your physical abilities are, if you can lift it by yourself. But a lot of the assembly comes together pretty quickly on the core desk assembly process itself. And when I say that, that means the feet and the desk. That part comes together rather quick. Now, a big reason why I like this desk and why I wanted to cover it is because of this rail system. Now, you do have to assemble this separately, of course. There are basically these side posts that go in, and if you got the standard Elevate or the fixed desk without the Elgato back piece here, you mount the rail system to it. Now, it's a standard T-rail system that allows you to purchase other accessories technically that's not necessarily from Corsair. They went with industry standard stuff. Even the pegboard system is industry standard. It's not proprietary. This is a huge win because you can buy any pegboard accessories you want, provided it physically fits and adheres to weight requirements or maximum capacity limitations that panel holds. But once you've put the side posts in, then you have to do the horizontal T-bar, which again, the whole process is relatively straightforward. Everything is machined aluminum and it fits and is secured very well. Now, the center part for the monitor does take quite a bit of time. It's a good monitor mount system, but you can basically you can offset it if you have one big monitor. They have single monitor versions. Another thing I like about the Platform 6 is most of the parts are sold separately. So if you want another surge protector, or not a surge protector, sorry, they're just power strips. Another note. They have 2 different power strips that comes with this desk. one of them being mounted or clamped to the back panel over there. So when you install this, they have tension adjustable springs on them, and they have tilts, they have vertical lift. You can obviously angle it to fit any monitor you want. You can do a 34-inch monitor if you'd like. I think you can exceed what the capacity is. I'm not publicly endorsing that or saying to do it, but I'm pretty sure there's some wiggle room here. And the way this is designed, you can get kind of creative with how you mount things. But another thing I like is the center point, obviously you typically want in the center of your desk. However, this bracket system that mounts, because nothing is like predetermined and you're stuck with it, you can slide this piece left or right. So if maybe you're buying this desk because you do a lot of 3D printing, you can slide the monitor mount over and have your giant 3D printer to the right. This will be sprinkled in throughout the video. The flexibility of a desk like this, allowing you to customize your setup for you, is the biggest reason to consider this desk. It's not purely best for your budget. You can build stand-up desks for significantly less money. My review table was a giant piece of solid butcher block. I forgot the material name of the wood, but I basically just did the staining of the wood myself, and I bought a universal frame online, and it allowed me to build my exact look that I want. However, it didn't give me any of the ability to use this rail system for customizing and expanding on later. Now, another reason why I like this desk is because it comes with a giant wire basket underneath. I like to hide my wires, if you can tell by looking under the desk, and I'll show you some nice B-roll along the way. It's very important to hide the wires to kind of get a clean look, but not everyone has the time for that. However, even if you don't secure and clean up all the stuff that runs along the floor, the basket alone is incredible. Like, you can fit so much there. I have a surge protector in there. I have a network switch because I run consoles occasionally, and I wanted the ability to have all of my wires inside this desk so I can have a single wire loom running from the ground up. It's much easier because this desk goes up and down. I didn't want to see a whole spider web of cables when I lifted it. The wire basket has 2 adjustable like thumb screws on the back. You can twist them off, and a door drops down, making it very easy to access everything. There's an interesting design issue with the door hinge. So like when the flap comes down, it opens up a little bit of a gap between the base of the wire basket, and when you close it, it tightens up. So just be careful you're not pinching the wires. One of the problems I had with it, however, is because of the direction of the slots, you can't run, and the basket's really wide, right? So if you run cables the long way, like a horizontal channel that goes parallel with the desk, the straps that you can run through it gives you a ton of Velcro straps, want to go the other direction. So you can only secure wires this way as opposed to this way. You can still make it work by using like, diagonal straps or whatever it is. I wish they ran the slots the other way because it would have made it much easier to secure wires going left and right. Mine's kind of a mess because I change my layout all the time. So having a big basket like that just makes it easier for me. I do secure and Velcro off some things. However, again, when you have that much space, at least you're not forced to. Now, Corsair also includes these like wire channel guides. They are designed to work both horizontally and they have curves to them, which I'm using on the back of my desk right now. You can barely see it because if you spend the time to set this up correctly, you can really mask off and hide most of the wires from view. Obviously, it's not going to be perfect because your setups can vary. However, with the Velcro straps it includes and the ability to put those channel pieces wherever you want, it's very flexible. Now, I already mentioned before, it uses a 3060 T-rail channel system. It's a standard system. So again, you don't have to buy proprietary stuff to include it. They give you tons of hardware to customize it your own, both for Elgato and part of the assembly process. But on the back of this, you can even install included baskets. These are Sony InZone M9 monitors, which has these giant power supplies. And before, it was a nightmare to hide those things. But with this system, I knew I couldn't make that power supply wire, which had like a single barrel connector, non-removable to the power supply. I couldn't get that to fit the bottom, all the way to the bottom of the desk. So I was able to put 2 baskets behind the rail, again, hiding it out of sight. Then I used a universal 2-plug cable or 2-pin cable to go down into the power adapter underneath, an AC adapter. So I want to talk about these corner posts because there's some things I like and dislike. And if you get the Elgato Multiframe system that's designed to kind of wrap up and around everything, The way they slide in is it gets so close to the little corner threaded hole for other Elgato accessories. You know, on the website, they show you that you can mount an Elgato key light post to it, or other, you know, maybe you have the extension like the desk arm and you're installing an overhead camera or something like that in the corner. When you put these giant rails in, the 3060 rails, it's so close to that hole, you can no longer use any of the Elgato accessories. So the one design thing I would love for them to change is to offset that hole further forward and away so I can still fit something there, just to give me the versatility. You can still use the rail right next to it. So even though you still have tons of options by using the multi-frame system, it's just not mounted to that exact post. So it's a little bit limiting there. So on the top center of that monitor mount is another hole for another Elgato multi-mount feature. So again, whether you're putting a cam link there, or sorry, not the cam link, the face cam, or a key light in the dead center, you can put that right in on that post. Now, I'm using the prompter because I have a Sony a6000 camera. It's just my older camera I used to use in my videos. Sigma lens, I was able to make it just fit, but I could not use that center point on the post because the backboard for the pegboard is too far forward. The post can only fit a very tiny camera if you have the Elgato Multiframe. So keep this in mind, and if you're deciding how to configure everything, I instead used a single T-channel mount. I mounted it on the front rail because this rail behind the monitors, there's actually 2 channels you can pick from, again, giving you flexibility on depth. I ran the small arm from Elgato to hold my camera, and then I have the little ball joint so I can angle it just right. That barely fits. Like, my camera's right up against it, and if you don't have a flip out monitor for a mirrorless camera to see things you know, as a secondary up top, it's impossible to see that screen. So it's a little bit challenging there. I wish that with the way this was designed, the rail placement for depth, I wish it was tweaked slightly. This is just stuff I ran into for my configuration. However, obviously you can make it work. Now, because the pegboard is on the back end of the T-rail system, the channel mount, that's how it mounts from behind. It's actually screwed in from the back, that way you don't see any bolts. However, because of that, if you have longer hooks like this one up here, you have to tilt the hook up to get it in and out. That means all of those top holes are useless because I can't physically get it in. You have to start by several pegs down. So you're losing a little bit of real estate on the pegboard because of that. If this system was more flush, then you could use all the pegs. However, it takes up more space behind your screen, so it's, again, a limiting thing. Now, I went by what the directions told me to do for assembly. This is all standard spacing and universal design, so you can still mount it however you want as long as it's secure. But from following the directions, this is what I ran into. Now, the Elgato frame system, this is seriously like killer for me because, as you can tell, I have stuff hanging up. They have hooks that has like a 6 hook set, if you will, that goes in the pegboard. I have cables and IEMs that hang from it. I have my SCUF controller in the top right there if I want to use the PlayStation controller on PC or my PlayStation. Some headsets hanging. I have in this little basket of like portable game decks or game decks from Creative in case I want to change things out. So the versatility is nuts. Now, that rail system runs vertically in the front of the post and on both sides. So you can mount things wherever you want. It comes with a bunch of these T-channel tabs, or like these pieces that you just insert, then you torque down with the included Allen key, allowing you to slide it up and down. It also comes with these side shelves, which I have my SVS bookshelf speakers on, and I adjusted it. It's not the perfect place for my bookshelf. I wish I could, angle them with a different mount on, for the speaker itself. But I was able to clear my desktop, which obviously I like the tower sitting up high. It keeps it dust free and all that. These shelves can hold up to 50 pounds of weight, and I added that because I wanted to, again, get my my tower off the floor, but not tie up all of my desk space, because 72 inches really pushes the width for me, using the Elgato low profile mount. And that power strip that it comes with is the USB-A and USB-C. It's a 1.5 amp, I believe. I think it's 3 amps total, but just over an amp for both the A and C. Not the fastest charger, but it's quick enough. And then with the rail system being on the front and sides, I have this shelf, which out of the box, it made the shelf the long and narrow way. I didn't really like that, but you can remove the bracket under the shelf to orientate the width of it or the depth of it, however you like. So then the other thing I did, I left one of the T-channel mounts on the top rail facing forward. That's because if I ever want to do a top-down view, and this is again for you content creators out there, maybe you don't want a face cam or whatever camera you're using constantly facing down at your keyboard and mouse. You know, sometimes you want it, sometimes you don't. So I left the T-channel mount there, and all I have to do is screw in the post to install my camera and then plug it in, because you can run a USB extension to the back to make it real easy, or, you know, remove it when you're done and clean up your desk again. And then down the road, maybe you wanted the camera over there instead. Well, just slide it on over. This is what makes this desk extremely valuable to me, is because what works perfectly for me today may not be great for me 6 months from now, because I got new stuff and frankly, I changed my mind. Maybe you're just never satisfied with your desk and gaming setup. I know there's a lot of people out there where it's like, I finally finished my build. And it's like, okay, cool, see you in 2 months when you show me your next change. Another thing I like is this little basket that's in the desk, which can make it very easy to hide wires. It comes with these little separating plastic pieces to compartmentalize the basket into 4 sections, and it has these like rubber gaskets to run wires in and out. I used to try to use some of those separating compartments just to keep the wires more organized, but because I move stuff so much, it was kind of a nightmare. So I just pulled them all out. Now I have a big open basket, and as you can see, I have all my stuff running into that. And again, it's super clean. Now let's talk about the desk height real quick, because that is another reason why I wanted this desk. Once I started using a stand-up desk for my filming and the versatility of that, I'm like, dang, I really want one for my main work desk, if you will. This is where I do my editing. This is where I do my day job. I do cybersecurity during the day, so I'm sitting at my desk a lot. I also got a different one for filming close-up of products. So there are 2 reasons to consider this. One, it may be ergonomically if you don't like standing. It's just to give you the right height for your setup and how you fit in your chair. The biggest benefit is the health perk, if you will, of being able to stand and work. You can use this little screen, which you can choose which side you mount it to. So I programmed this to be 1 for my sitting position and 2 for my standing position. It's very easy to change. It's also pretty easy to accidentally lock, which this was not in the manual. I accidentally locked my desk when I was leaning over it to plug things in, because these buttons are pretty easy to press in. I didn't know what I did to lock it. So what I found out was if you press the down arrow and the S button at the same time, it locks the desk. And I locked mine in the standing position, and it took like 2 days to figure out how to undo it, because I didn't know that's what I did to lock it in the first place. And even Corsair didn't have an answer right away on how to unlock it. Turns out, if you do accidentally lock it, and this is important for if you have children, by the way, because if they're standing under it and they're getting taller, you don't want them to accidentally lower it onto themselves if they're hitting buttons. So you press and hold down and S. To unlock it, press and hold down and S for at least 5 seconds, and it'll eventually unlock. Then you can resume your day-to-day operations here at your new desk setup. Now the Elgato mount system, when you use these rails, they comes with these like double-sided screws that you twist in, and then it gives you the ability to thread a post onto it. So like, you know, what I'm doing to hold this camera. This is a little bit wobbly, and part of that is because the threads that stick out are deeper than the channel of the 3060 rail system. So they don't, like the flat part of the disc where the post would screw in, it wouldn't go flat against the rail, which would give me a lot more stability. Now I left it unmodified up until the point of this video. However, I plan on shaving down a bolt just to try it, because I want to shave it just enough where when I screw that piece in, it's not sticking up past the rail to give me the extra stability I need. That's one thing I think Corsair could do, is again, as a personal experience thing. If they shortened that a little bit, I think it would be much more stable for heavier gear, like a mirrorless camera with the prompter installed. It would significantly help that. For other stuff, maybe it doesn't matter as much. Now the desk is really strong too, so if you get the fixed version, obviously the weight goes up quite a bit as far as the capacity goes, but if you have the motor system, this is a dual motor system, it's not single, and it's rated for 330 pounds on the top of this desk. The side pieces are rated for 50 pounds. You're not adding 50 pounds to the capacity of the desk, you're sharing the load for the motor. However, it's not like you want to put a 100-pound desktop or some really, really heavy whatever it is that happens to fit just on that shelf, keep that in mind. I was nervous because the way this shelf works, it only uses 3 T-rail bolts, and I didn't know how strong that would hold that desktop, which is kind of heavy. You know, it's a full-size case. There's a 4090 in there. There's liquid cooling, and that adds up to some weight. However, it's not really bending down or sagging, so that's a good thing. And again, I've used this since launch, so it's been holding up there too. Now, another thing I learned through trial and error is the Elgato key lights. I use the Airs because I like how compact they are, and when I had one Air, I never had to go past like 50 or 60% before for my streaming, so I figured just 2 Airs would be fine. They show online pictures of the rail, and the Air is mounted on the top part of the rail angling down, which because of the depth of the default like ball joint mount, I couldn't angle it down low enough to point at my face. So again, with the versatility of the rails, I ended up mounting the Elgato Keylight Air mount on the front rail instead of the top. And as you can see, I get perfect flexibility, and it kind of pulls everything in together. You lose a little bit of the pegboard space, but ultimately the lighting was more important, and I frankly have enough space. I mainly wanted the pegboard so I can just hang up a few headphones that I'm not always using, but still have present on my desk. Before, the challenge was always, where do I put all my headphone stands? Do I get the clamp system that hangs here? Another thing, by the way, on the left side, so I used to run dual shelves, but I felt like I was wasting some of the storage space capacity of the pegboard. So I left the shelf on this side for my tower, but on the other side, the left side of the desk, I switched to the pegboard, which all you have to do is install this like T-mount or this giant T-shaped aluminum frame. You secure that to the side of the desk and then bolt the pegboard in. The pegboard mounting process was okay. I think like they left enough wiggle room for you to slide it a little bit for tolerance purposes, but at the same time, it makes it a little bit less secure feeling. You just have to tighten it right and it'll be fine. So the advantage to this though, not only do I get really strong pegboards on the outside, and again, it comes with steel hooks, so I was able to hang my backpack. I have a Quest VR on it. I've put my PlayStation Portal on there. But on the inside of the pegboard, so just inside my desk, I have another headphone hook, which is what I use for my conference calls. So when I want to take a call, it's always at the ready and I don't have to go, fumbling around for it. So I'm getting vertical storage on 2 sides of the same pegboard. I really, really wish they gave you the option to do the shelf plus pegboard, but by design, even if you bought that $250 shelf kit, you can only use one or the other on each side. So you're only using half of what you pay for. The one pro is if you change your mind down the road, you have the flexibility to swap them in and out as much as you need to again, accommodate whatever your needs are. So to kind of summarize, it's a desk. How much do I review a desk? It's about dimensions, it's about capacity. The biggest thing I wanted to focus on is the expansion and customization. Yes, the black laminate doesn't look as pretty, but it is more durable. This is more of an espresso brown system. And it doesn't come with any RGB lighting options, which is kind of important to some people for the gaming side, or at least for if you want that visual aesthetic. I'm not saying everyone wants RGB. I usually switch this to a soft white at night too. But I used a 25-foot Govee system, and I'll put a link in the description below for some of this stuff, and even the layout if I can, because the 25-foot worked out perfectly to have like 2 strips going across, vertically down the posts, and then along the back of my desk. And I have this nice little button where I can turn them on and off at night. So I wanted something clean and versatile, and the desk fits me because I change stuff. And a lot of people out there are getting into content creation, even if it's for your own personal stuff. If you want the ability to have a camera that you can mount or shelves that you can slide around, maybe you change your speaker setup or you want a plant over there. It's a desk that isn't perfect for everybody, but it's versatile enough to work for basically any use case, provided you see value in a desk like this. And I know a lot of people are going to compare it to something like the Secret Labs desk, which is about $1,000 for adjustable height, but it doesn't come with the monitor mount system. This rail system and the monitor mount is definitely a high quality add. It's not like just a side piece. The monitor mount brackets actually use metal plates. It's not all plastic. I have a Kanto system that's $300 for a dual monitor mount that I was using on my IKEA desk. that used a plastic mounting plate to the screen. So the fact that this is on par with a very expensive standalone monitor mount system, you know, you're not getting a cheap monitor mount is what I'm getting at. All of these products are pretty high quality. Is it without flaws? No, I think a version 2 down the road might adjust the spacing of some things, but it's just the fact that it's not proprietary and lets me do whatever I want and customize down the road, because none of us stick with the same setup forever. Stuff changes and your needs change. And this is a desk that kind of grows with you. So for a long-term investment, I think it's great. Hopefully you found this long-winded review helpful and I showed you some things you didn't know about it before. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And like I said, I'll have links in the description below to help you find this stuff. So with that being said, take care and I'll see you next time.